So this is where we came last time and decided that there was maybe a little more to El Paso than meets the eye. Normally, this street is crowded with shoppers, but it is a quiet Tuesday morning on the 4th of July. Down there at the end of that last block or two is the international crossing to Juarez. And we're gonna go see if we can find our way back to 210, the amazing coffee. Of course, the first thing that you need as you cross the border is a new burner phone.
Turn right to South Santa Fe Street. Turn right to South Santa Fe Street.
Alright, so a hot tip for all of you when you come to El Paso and you too are looking for the best coffee, what you need to do is into your navigation you have to put the number 2 and then spell out the number 10. 2-T-E-N, and then you'll find it. The number 2 and the word 10. Even out in the middle of nowhere. Then came the lawyers. Then came the rules. So we are nearing Van Horn, Texas. We just crossed from Hudspeth County into Culbertson County. We also just crossed into the Central Time Zone. And a few miles back in the west side of Sierra Blanca, we also went through a migrant checkpoint. So the way things are looking right now is most of our explorations are going to be to the south toward Big Bend. But most of the interest that we're developing is actually to the north, maybe along beloved Highway 180. So we're going to go down all the way deep toward Big Bend country and see what there is to see in our vacation sort of way. The trip back actually might be a lot more useful in terms of scouting for that secondary campsite sort of thing. So we're way on the east side of those mountains that we first encountered near Sierra Blanca, where you weren't supposed to sleep on the picnic table. We kind of came much more east than we had initially intended to, and it is a little bit greener. The brush is a little bit taller, but I don't think you could say it's worth it to come out this far. It's not like the brush is high enough to justify all those miles. I still think that we're better off looking toward the north or back closer to El Paso, or both. Chihuahuan Desert Nature Center. So we're in the area of Fort Davis, Texas, and it's getting nicer as we go. It's actually quite nice. The difficulty for purposes of our exploration is that we are up very high, relatively speaking, up over 5,000 feet. And so this is not a destination to come get warm in the winter. The average January low is pretty much the same as Silver City, and quite a lot lower by a factor of about 7 degrees than El Paso itself. So it's super scenic. In the areas that have water, you could even call it pretty, but it's not of utility to us because of that low in January phenomenon. Deep into Texas and far off I-10, this is quite a lot more impressive than I expected, certainly. We're 10 miles out of Alpine. Probably check in again there. Alpine, Texas. We struck out on the coffee and the Mexican food truck, but we didn't really expect to be so lucky at 6 o'clock in the evening on the 4th of July. Alpine, did I say it was a town of 5,000? It's got its own little big ditch. It's really nice up here. This is not what I think of when I think of Texas. Nice monsoonal buildup, and I don't think we can quite see it from here, but there's a state university, a branch of the Sol Ross State University, up on a hill overlooking town. We're more or less right downtown now. It's nice. I wish it was gonna be warmer in January than it really is, because there would be a lot of reason to come here if it were. We support our border patrol agents, huh? Heading south on 118 out of Alpine. Really, really nice immense land. Probably about 6,000 feet, covered in nice thick junipers. Canyons, hills that you might almost call mountains. It reminds me a lot of Prescott back in the day. Prescott, Arizona, that is. That's a mountain. And not one of these dry ones either. It's for real. Monsoon clouds finally paying off. Dropped all the way to 75 according to the vehicle, and dropping. It's only one moment in time in a whole year of moments, but I'm impressed. 70, 69, cooling off real nice. We are starting to lose the light here a little bit, so I thought I'd just give you one last shot of the road south of Alpine. We are about 40 miles out of Terlingua, where we're staying tonight, and that also means essentially 40 miles away from both Big Bend National Park and Big Bend, the Texas State Park. One is kind of on either side of Terlingua. We are down off that pretty mountain stretch immediately south of Alpine and down to about 4,000 feet again. You can see though that the brush remains pretty thick, so that you might have a little bit of privacy on land like this, even if you only had 5 or 10 acres. If you had the right 5 or 10 acres, even though you're low, even though it's not well watered, it could be worth it as a place to park an RV and hole up. We are still supposedly 20 miles outside of Terlingua, but there are all kinds of people living out here in all kinds of things. We just came through a little valley where there were tiny homes and trailers and sheds of all descriptions, and unfortunately the land is barren enough that these people are all living in easy sight of each other. There's somebody who got away up on the mountain. But there's clearly a decided lack of zoning happening here, so that much is encouraging. That one says Terlingua Ranch, a restaurant, RV campsites, storage. There we go. That's sort of like what it's been looking like for the last 5 miles. Just a big empty-ish valley filled with little jerry-built habitations. About 10 miles out of, away from our motel, let's just put it that way. And we are going up again over one more range of mountains. National Park headquarters is still said to be 40 miles away, but I think park headquarters is smack in the middle of the national park. We got to town later than we thought we would, but fortunately the Chili Pepper Cafe had a sign on it that said open, and it wasn't lying. So we ordered up a couple of plates of chicken enchiladas. It really does feel like you're kind of at the end of the world here, and that people are living their own lives in a independent way that doesn't take much account of property values. We're staying in the Rio room. It might be the nicest room in all of Terlingua. And that might be the nicest sunset I've seen in a while.